Apology of Socrates according to Plato. Apology in this sense means written defense of one's own opinion or conduct. And he was charged with two things. The first one was the corruption of years of Athenians, and the second one was believing in false gods or did not believe in gods at all, essentially atheism. Now, he starts his defense by uttering a very interesting thing. So persuasively did they speak, yet they hardly uttered a word of trust. This is a power of persuasion. You can prepare your life so well and utter it to the point that you may deceive simply everybody. Even Socrates himself says that almost I myself got deceived. Such a well written those lies were. And yet they hardly uttered a word of trust. Now, he refers to yes of Athenians, and he says something super interesting. But far more dangerous are the others, who begin when you were children, and took possession of your minds with their falsehoods. And what he means by that, the enemies he refers to essentially want him dead. That enemies want him to die. But he refers to these type of enemies, but the ones who raised you, took possession of your mind within their falsehood. More dangerous the ones that want to take his life. Why? Because they have brainwashed these children when they were young, since they were young, taught them falsehood. That's why this says that these people are much more dangerous. And why is that? Because when you were young and somebody was feeding you that lies, you could not oppose with them. You could not say, okay, no, that's not true at all. And simply you took those things as a matter of fact without even analyzing and questioning it. That's why it is more dangerous. Also, he makes a very interesting remark about receiving money for giving and teaching. If a man were really able to instruct mankind, to receive money for giving instruction would, in my opinion, be an honor to him if he truly instructs the mankind. Now, he first focus on his first accusation about corrupting the youth of Athenians, and here is his enemy Meletus, which he questions and corners him kind of in his thoughts, and tells him this thing. Happy indeed would be the condition of Ias if they had one corrupter only and all the rest of the world were the improvers. Basically, he has serious questions. Does the Senate want good for Ias? Does this people, everyone wants good for this younger generation, but only I don't want good for them? And that's where he says, because the Meletus will agree on him, yes, you are the only one that don't want good for this, yes. And then when he says this thing to him, and how interesting observation is this, because and after this, after Meletus says to him, he directly calls him a liar, and he directly calls him for his corruption and ignorance, and tells him that you are in fact the one that don't want good for Ias, because you simply don't care for them, to say it in this way, and stop pretending as if you care for this younger generation. You simply are blinded by your hatred toward me, and that's why you are uttering those words. You don't really care for us. Come on, stop that lies. Now, he says very powerfully that understand that I shall never alter my ways, not even if I have to die many times. How powerful he is dedicated toward his way. And what is his way? His way is to differentiate between true wisdom and false wisdom. That's the reason why he made so many enemies. He would go to politicians, to poets, to most renowned and powerful people of Athens, and would question them and would come to conclusion that they are, in fact, don't know nothing because they think they know nothing. And that's how he explains that they are less wise than I am, because they think they know something, while I, as a Socrates, in fact, know that I know nothing. That's why I'm wiser than those people that think that they know something. So there is also a very interesting reference to poets, right? when he finds out that other people have better insight on that gift they are writing than the poets themselves. And yes, I have written some poems myself, and I can say that when you're writing, it's a gift, it's an inspiration that comes to you. And just because it came and it's written through your hand, it doesn't mean that it necessarily you have full grasp and full understanding of what you've written. And there can easily be another person that has more deep understanding. But in this case, what Socrates saw was that those poets were so arrogant because they thought that it was all to them and they understood their writing the best, and they were really ignorant in this case. Here, and literary utters his famous words: "Unexamined life is not worth living." You have to be examining yourself and people around you. You have to be studying it. And that's where the life comes. That's where life has value. And here's what he says directly to his enemies: "I would rather die having spoken after my manner than speak in your manner and live." He says directly this to their enemies' face, basically. He tells this to his enemies. He would rather die than speak in their manner as his enemies. The difficulty, my friends, is not to avoid death, but to avoid unrighteousness, for that runs faster than death. Now, about death, he says, we don't know what is death. How do we know that maybe death is not something the greatest, and in fact something very good, instead of a thing you should trying to avoid? So he says death is either good or nothing, a profound sleep. Or also he talks about maybe there's some sort of afterlife down there, etc. And he concludes that thing, in fact, is interesting, because can you imagine, you could meet all the wise people that ever existed and question them, initiate conversation. How interesting would that be? So he concludes that that there is no reason to fear the death. And also he gives lesson to their enemies and points toward their foolishness by telling them that basically, I'm old. You're 70 years old. I'm old. Nature would do your bidding soon enough. So you guys have done foolishness because your enemies, the enemies of this state, will say that, well, you guys have killed the wise men. I haven't thought I'm not wise man, but this is what they will say. And also he explains there that when you he starts basically under he can ask for other things than death, because he knows for sure that he will kill. But he can be like, I don't want to leave this city, neither I want to be imprisoned, etc. Because first of all, I am old. Where should I go? And also, I don't want to be imprisoned and treated like that slave. Neither I want to live in this way. I don't love life. Like, loving life so much is not worth it at all. So I would rather die. And he fiercely says it. And there's the last words of his. The hour of departure has arrived, and we go our ways. I die and you to live. Which is better? God only knows. This is what he tells to his friends. Which is better? God only knows. And let me finish it with a short poem in Georgian language that I have once written. დღე არ შობისა, წამი არ ყოფნისა, ნატვრა არ დაბადებისა, ოცნება წამისა. Who knows which is better? I die and you live. Which is better? Who knows? This is the ending thoughts of it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. See you.